You saw all of the footage of thousands and thousands of Haitians who'd congregated. Right now, people are walking across the river straight into the United States of America. So many so, in fact, that people have come out and they actually built steps into the mud to make it easier for people to walk down into the river and head straight across into the United States. Everyone knows we've got a massive drug problem in the United States of America. We've talked with a lot of families who've lost kids to fentanyl, who've lost kids to heroin in the state of Missouri. It's important to understand how the cartels and the drug traffickers work. What they'll do is that they'll send thousands of people across a checkpoint like this. In the open, they'll send them across. While they're doing that, and while they have the Border Patrol distracted to process everybody on the other side, then the drug traffickers will actually go to another point, which I'm going to show you in a minute, where they will send people across who they don't want to be caught. All right, so we've already talked about the fact that you've got people coming from Venezuela, Nicaragua, Chile, Argentina, Cuba. They're all crossing. People from Egypt, people from the United Arab Emirates. I just picked up another broken ID thrown on the ground here. This is a guy from Senegal who's crossing. So literally from every corner of the planet, anybody who wants to come into the United States is coming here to Mexico and walking right across the border. So we showed you before where thousands of people are crossing every single day into the United States. Now, the drug gangs and the cartels, they also are crossing every day into the United States. They don't want to be caught. So now I'm going to take you and show you one of the transit points that the drug gangs are using to bring fentanyl and other drugs into the United States. And there's some relatively fresh footprints right here. So the drug gangs are using this cover to conceal their path as they walk up to the border. So it's important to recognize that this is a pretty sophisticated operation, right? When we walked through the park, they had lookouts in the park letting people know that we were coming. They have very good intelligence about where American law enforcement is on the other side. They have encrypted satellite communications that they're using, and they have these routes to make sure that they can't be seen as they carry their drugs across. So you can see the coyotes will make sure they will bring, whether it's their slaves, whether they're bringing drugs across, they'll bring them through a path like this. You can see there's water bottles. They'll hydrate here. They'll wait till they get absolute confirmation that the coast is clear, and then they'll head right across the border into the United States. This is one of the major transit points for drug shipments. This is when you'll see guys making their way, again, with concealment to a place like this. They will shoot straight across the river, and they know that there's no American law enforcement waiting on the other side. These are the groups that you'll see. They'll be wearing camouflage, they'll be carrying drugs with them. They get on the other side, and on the other side, a very sophisticated operation where they'll be picked up and then those drugs will start to transit into the United States to every community in America. This is another stop. It's a rendezvous point right before the drug gangs cross over. You saw how they used concealment. If the first place that we showed you, the first crossing place, was bad for any reason, they just keep moving down the trail. And you can see here, they'll stop, they'll eat, they'll hydrate, they'll get ready to go. And then again, as soon as they know it's clear and their people on the other side have told them, boom, they shoot right across. So who's profiting from this? Joe Biden is profiting from this. The Mexican drug gangs, the cartels, the coyotes, they're profiting from this. Every single transit of slaves that they're bringing across, and that's what human trafficking is, every single shipment of drugs that goes across, the cartels are getting richer. Who's paying for it? You are. You are paying for the border wall that's not being built, and you are literally paying for people who are coming across into the United States to be sent to communities all over the country. This is another trail system that's connected to the one that I already showed you. Again, offers tremendous concealment for somebody who wants to cross the border. And what's important to recognize, and nobody's reporting on, is that the hundreds of thousands of people who are crossing into the country are also providing an incredible opportunity for the Mexican drug gangs, the cartels, the human smugglers, people who are involved in modern day human slavery to get people across the border. This is a national security issue. It's a violence issue, it is a terrorism issue, it's a public health issue, it is a humanitarian crisis, and it is also accentuating the drug crisis in the United States because, again, these cartels are taking advantage of places just like this. One of the other things that's amazing about being down here is that it just becomes so clear how stupid and manipulative the mainstream media and the regime propaganda outlets are. We're down here, thank God, we've got a guy, Ben Bergquam with Real America's Voice. He's doing an incredible job, a courageous job, crossing into the border to identify a lot of these checkpoints that the Mexican drug gangs and cartels are using to bring some light to what's actually happening in our country. And the fact is, the media knows what's happening. If you're down here, you know what's happening, but they don't want to show it because they don't want you to know what's happening in your own country.